Hello everyone, Alex Wilson here again, accredited mental health social worker and owner-operator of Mindful Recovery Services in Avoca Beach. I hope you're all having a great sunny day today. We are here, it's beautiful, beginning of spring. I'm going to talk today about dialectics. Okay, so some of you who know me know that the therapy that I specialize in is called dialectical behavioral therapy. We call it DBT for short. And this word dialectics is obviously a key part of this therapy. And it's sort of a funny big word. And what does it mean? So I'm just going to explain that a little bit and how that relates to the work that we do. So, what is the meaning of a dialectic? What is a dialectic? So, a dialectic is any situation where there are two opposite positions that are true at the same time. Okay, so an example of a dialectic might be if there is some chocolate cake sitting on the table. A dialectic might be, I want to eat the chocolate cake, but I don't want to eat the chocolate cake. Okay, both of those things can be true for me at the same time, right? I want to eat the cake because I'm hungry and I like chocolate cake. I don't want to eat the cake because I ate maybe a whole cake yesterday and I said I wasn't going to eat so much sugar, right? So I want to eat the cake. I don't want to eat the cake. They're total opposites, but they're both true at the same time. And when we look at dialectics, we start to realize that this is actually very true in the rest of life. Right? That we're often struggling with, internally being stuck in dialectics where we want this, but we want this. Yeah. And, we can get stuck in dialectics with other people where their view is that and my view is this, and we can't find any middle ground. But more so, we do it within ourselves. So there's internal struggle. Right? And sometimes people say it's like feeling like they're in two minds or just this real internal conflict. And sometimes we get stuck thinking that we have to choose one or the other, right? And actually, let's think about them as a continuum. So if here I don't want to eat the cake, and here I do want to eat the cake, those are two options, but there's a bunch of options in here. Right? It's not just this or this. There's a lot of other middle ground here that I might explore. And when we get stuck in dialectics, we're often missing that. We're thinking it's got to be this, so I've got to eat the cake or I don't eat the cake, right? There's a whole bunch of middle ground. For example, using the cake example, it might be, all right, well, I'm not going to have any cake today, but I'll save a piece for tomorrow. Or I might have a small bit and give the rest away. Right? It doesn't have to be like I eat it all or I like deprive myself forever, right? Those are just the extremes. There's a whole bunch of middle ground. And so when we talk about dialectics, we talk about noticing the extremes. We don't want to swing between the two. Again, what I could do is I could not eat any cake today and like deprive myself for like weeks of cake and then have like a massive cake binge, right? And just eat like 2 whole chocolate cakes in one sitting. That's not good, right? Extremes are not good. So we want to notice when we flip-flop between extremes or when we're stuck in an extreme. If I just deprived myself of chocolate cake for the rest of my life, I don't want to do that. That's not fun. But also I want to have some self-discipline. I don't want to just eat anything that's just like put in front of me, right? I want to have a little bit of, mindfulness around what I'm putting into my body and being healthy. So either extreme is bad. Gray is good, as we say, right? So often in DBT therapy, we work on these beliefs and these behaviors and thought patterns that are caught in extremes. And people will often say to me, they start to recognize how black and white they can get. It's either this or it's this. So how does this apply to, psychological work and the issues? So a general dialectic that we work on in DBT therapy is the dialectic of acceptance versus change. Okay, so acceptance and change are opposites, yeah? And either one of these extremes is not good. So if I'm approaching life and I'm totally acceptance focused, right? So, everything is just the way it is and there's no point trying. It's, it just is how it is. That's not good because there are some things that maybe need to change, right? When people come to see me, it's because there's things that need to change and there's things they want to change. So being in the acceptance extreme is not good. But the other extreme of extreme change focused is not good either. Because if I'm like, all right, well, I've got to change everything in my life and everything about myself, that can become very stressful because chances are I'm not going to be able to change everything. But also, trying to do that is really stressful, and I can actually end up beating myself up even more, which is not great for actual meaningful long-term change. So either of these extremes are bad. There's all this gray area that we want to work in. And it doesn't mean even being 50-50 exactly in the middle. It's just being able to move around in the grays, right? Noticing, when am I doing too much accepting and I need to push for change? Or when am I doing too much pushing and I need to move for acceptance? So again, if we have this continuum, extreme acceptance and extreme change, I'm going to try to get my hands a little more centered. Extreme acceptance and extreme change. If I'm stuck in extreme acceptance, like, oh, nothing, I can't do anything, there's no point, I might just say, okay, well, how could I take a little step this way? Just one little step here. What's one small thing that I could try and change? That's gray area. That's good. Or if I'm like, oh man, I'm like really pushing hard to change everything and I'm feeling really stressed out. All right, what might I need to accept? What's one thing in my life today that I might try and bring some acceptance to and just bring it this way? Gray is good, right? So it doesn't have to be, right bang in the middle. Anything in from the extreme is a good idea. Okay, so I'm going to be talking in some other vlogs about other examples of dialectics, but I hope that gives you a good idea generally of what dialectics are and how exploring that might be helpful for you or someone you know. All right, guys, as always, let me know if you've got any questions or comments. Bye for now.